Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how you can make this super cute glittery point shoe bag for yourself, which also doubles as a water bottle holder. So before we begin, this is what you'll need for this project. So the yarn that I personally recommend for this project is Queensland Coastal Cotton Yarn, but any worsted weight or size 4 cotton yarn will do. And for my thread, glittery, or sequence yarn, I recommend using Rico Design Creative Make It Bloom Chin. I hope I'm saying that right. Well, anyways, let's get started. So for row 1, you'll want to start out by making a magic circle, and then you'll be chaining 1 and making 6 single crochets into the magic circle. When you're done, you'll end the row off with a slip stitch. And in case it wasn't clear, you will be working with both strands of yarns together at the same time. However, if you just want to work with your main cotton yarn, there's no need to use the glittery thread. That's completely optional. The project should still work up the same. For row 2, you'll chain 1 and then make 2 single crochets into each stitch all the way around. So in total, you should have 12 single crochets by the end of the round, and then when you're done, make a slip stitch. For row 3, you'll start by making a chain 1. Then into the very next stitch, you'll make 1 half double crochet. And into the stitch after that, you'll place 2 half double crochets. You'll repeat this pattern of 1 half double crochet and 1 half double crochet increase until the end of the row. By the end of the row, you should have 18 stitches. When you're done, slip stitch to close the round. For row 4, you'll chain 1 and then into the very next stitch, you'll make 1 half double crochet. Then into the stitch after that, you'll make another half double crochet. Into the third stitch, you'll make 2 half double crochets into the same stitch, so a half double crochet increase. You'll repeat this pattern of making 2 half double crochets followed by a half double crochet increase all the way around. In total, you should have about 24 stitches. When you're done, slip stitch to close. For row 5, you'll start by making a chain 1 and then into the next 3 stitches make 1 half double crochet each, and then into the very 4th stitch you'll be making a half double crochet increase, so 2 half double crochets into the same stitch, and you'll be repeating this pattern all the way around, and at the end you should have about 30 stitches, and when you're done just slip to close. For row 6, you'll start by making a chain 1 and then into the very next stitch make 1 half double crochet, and into the stitch after that you will make 2 half double crochets into the same stitch. You will repeat this pattern of 1 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet increase all the way around until you have 45 stitches, and once you're done just slip to close. For rows 7, 8, and 9, you'll make 1 chain 1 and then into every stitch around you'll make 1 half double crochet. You should have 45 stitches for each of these rounds, and when you're done just slip to close. So this is what it's looking like so far, and now that we're done the base, we'll be moving on to the mesh part of the bag. For row 10, you'll be working into the back loops only. To start row 10, start by chaining 3. Then you'll skip the first stitch and make 1 half double crochet into the very next stitch. So here I'm making 1 half double crochet into that stitch, and then I'll chain 1, and then I'll skip the very next stitch and then make 1 half double crochet into the stitch after that. So you'll repeat this process of skipping 1 stitch and making 1 half double crochet into the back loop and chaining 1 until you get to the end, and then for this round, in order to end it, you'll slip into the very top of the first chain 3 space that you made. For row 11 till 19, you'll start the rows out by chaining 3. Then you'll repeat the following sequence. You'll start by skipping the first stitch, followed by making 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, and then chaining 1. So you'll repeat the sequence of skipping a stitch, putting 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, and then chaining 1 all the way around. When you get to the end, you will end off the round by making a slip stitch into the very top of the first chain 3 space that you made. Once you finish row 19, that's the end of the mesh, and we'll be moving on to the band section of the bag. So starting with row 20, we'll be working into the back loops only. So you'll start by making a chain 1 and then place 1 half double crochet into each stitch all the way around. You should have 45 stitches by the end of this round, and once you're done, slip stitch to close. For rows 21 to 29, you'll start out the rows by making a chain 1 and then you'll place 1 half double crochet into each stitch all the way around. You should have 45 stitches after the end of each row, and then to end the rows off, you'll just slip stitch to close as per usual. Row 30 marks the beginning of the second mesh section. So to start, you'll chain 3 and skip the first stitch, and into the back loop you'll make 1 half double crochet and then chain 1. You'll repeat this pattern of skipping the next stitch and then making 1 half double crochet and chaining 1 until the very end. And then when you're done, you'll just slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 that you made at the beginning of the round. For rows 31 to 34, you'll chain 3 and then you'll repeat the following pattern. You'll skip the first stitch and then make 1 half double crochet into the next stitch and then chain 1. So just repeat that process of skipping 1 stitch and then making 1 half double crochet into the next stitch and then chaining 1 until you reach the end. And once you do reach the end, just slip stitch to close. For row 35, you'll start off by chaining 2, and then you'll put 1 half double crochet into the chain 1 space and then chain 1. Into the next space, you will put 2 half double crochets and then chain 1. You'll repeat this pattern of making 2 half double crochets into the chain 1 space and then chaining 1 until you get to the very end. Once you reach the end, you know what to do, just slip stitch into the top of the first stitch to close. For row 36, you'll start out by chaining 1 and then into the next stitch, make 1 single crochet and then a chain 1. You'll be repeating this process of making 1 single crochet and chain 1 into each stitch until the end of the row. After you slip stitch, chain 1 and then cut your yarn, leaving a long tail that you'll weave in later. Now we'll be making the drawstring. To do this, you'll make up 2 long chains that are 100 chains each with 3-inch tails on each side. Next, I recommend placing 2 stitch markers equal width apart or 11 spaces apart on your project. Now I'll be showing you how to weave in your drawstring. For this part, I recommend using a darning needle or a hook. Personally, I'll be using a darning needle because I find that the easiest, but do what is best for you, girly. Once you have your tail securely on your darning needle, you will start weaving in the tail from one end, so 1 stitch marker, in this case the yellow one, until you reach the blue stitch marker, so the 2nd stitch marker on the opposite side. So when you're weaving it through, you'll just alternate between weaving it through the back or the front of the half double crochet clusters that you made at the top of your bag. Once you reach the 2nd stitch marker, you'll want to flip your work, and now you'll be weaving in the 2nd half of the drawstring from the 1st stitch marker to the 2nd stitch marker, but this time on the reverse. I know it sounds confusing, but I zoomed in here so that you can see a little bit clearer what I'm doing. So just weaving back and forth through the half double crochet clusters until you reach that 2nd stitch marker. So once you reach the end, you'll just want to stretch it out a bit so that both tails are roughly the same size and the tension around the top of the bag is the same. And then on the very ends where the tails are, you're going to want to tie a few knots to secure the drawstring. Now you'll want to flip your work and we'll get started on the 2nd drawstring. So it's very similar to the first time, but this time we'll be starting from our blue stitch marker or your 2nd stitch marker. And you'll be following the same process of just weaving back and forth through the half double crochet clusters until you reach the yellow stitch marker or your 1st stitch marker. So once you reach the yellow stitch marker, you'll want to flip your work and now repeat the process of weaving in the end from the blue stitch marker back to the yellow stitch marker. And just like before, when you reach the final stitch marker, you'll want to make sure that the tension at the top of the bag is even and that both tail ends are also even, and then you'll just tie a few knots until you're satisfied it's not going anywhere. You can even use some super glue if you're a real baddie like me, or if you use acrylic yarn, you can use a lighter to seal the ends in, or if you're old school and super diligent, just weave your ends back in and pray. I don't know, whatever works for you. And just like that, you have your very own Pointe shoe bag, which can also double as a water bottle holder. I really enjoyed making this ballet themed video. If you'd like it to be a series, comment down below what you would like to see me make next. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, cutie pies. Bye!